It all began with a soft thud one quiet night. Nothing major, just a subtle noise in the dark that barely registered in my half-asleep brain. I assumed it was a raccoon knocking over a trash bin again. This was the suburbs, after all. Nighttime mischief was common. Possums, squirrels, the occasional skunk. I didn't give it a second thought. But the next morning changed everything. As I walked down my driveway to grab the newspaper, I saw it. My mailbox, crooked and mangled, barely hanging onto its post like it had just lost a bar fight. The wooden pole was cracked, dangling at an odd angle, held in place by a single rusty bolt. My first instinct was to rationalize it. Maybe a delivery truck got a little too close. Maybe some teenager clipped it on a joyride. Accidents happen, right? I brushed it off. I wasn't one to overreact. So I hammered the post back into place, gave it a fresh coat of paint, and went on with my life. Big mistake. 2 days later, it happened again. Only this time, the destruction was unmistakable. The entire mailbox, post, box, and all had been ripped from the ground like someone had reverse-rammed it with a truck. The hole left behind looked like a shallow grave, and the wood was splintered into a dozen pieces. This wasn't a coincidence. This was a message. Welcome to the channel that dives deep into the ridiculous drama of picture-perfect suburbia, where the most vicious wars are fought not with weapons, but with pettiness. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and buckle up, because this story takes a wild turn. After the second hit, I started documenting everything. Every other night, without fail, my mailbox was targeted. It became a routine. Fix it, paint it, admire it, then watch it get annihilated again. Some nights, I found deep tire marks carved through my grass. Other times, the mailbox was so thoroughly destroyed, it looked like it had been in a head-on collision. Each time I rebuilt it, I made it tougher. I started using thicker posts, deeper cement, extra bracing. But it didn't matter. Within 48 hours, obliterated. Someone out there had declared war on my mailbox, and they were winning. I tried to catch them. Sat outside with a flashlight and a thermos of coffee. Sometimes I camped in my car like a surveillance agent. I even bought motion sensor lights. But the attacker had timing down to an art. They always struck when I was either in the shower, out running errands, or dead asleep. It became personal. I asked my neighbors if they had seen anything suspicious. One guy mentioned hearing an engine revving loudly around 2 a.m. Another said he spotted a gray SUV idling near my driveway. The problem? Half the neighborhood drove gray SUVs. It was a dead end. Worse yet, people began to look at me like I was imagining things. Like I was some obsessive guy ranting about a phantom mailbox attacker. Even the HOA brushed me off when I submitted a formal complaint. We'll look into it, they said. Translation? We won't do a damn thing. Frustrated, I took desperate measures. I mounted a fake plastic owl on top of the mailbox, thinking maybe it would scare off whatever lunatic was targeting it. But no, that owl ended up with a broken beak and a crooked neck, like it had taken sucker punch. The next day, I marched to the HOA office with a stack of photos showing every incident, shredded wood, crushed boxes, and even tire tracks. I stapled them to a clipboard like I was presenting evidence at a trial. And, sitting behind the desk, smug as ever, was Karen. You know the type. Sharp haircut, pastel cardigan, and a smile that could melt lead if it ever reached her eyes. She was the HOA president, judge, jury, and executioner of Suburban standards. I cleared my throat and began. My mailbox has been destroyed 4 times in the last 2 weeks. I've filed 3 complaints. Nothing's been done. Karen looked at me like I was telling her the moon had fallen into my backyard. "Oh, your mailbox," she said slowly, blinking like I'd spoken in ancient Latin. "Yes, the one directly in front of my house. The one that's been flattened repeatedly." She leaned back in her chair, laced her fingers together, and looked at my photos like they were modern art. Could be a delivery truck, or the wind. Those older posts snap real easy. I stared at her, incredulous. The wind? There are tire tracks. Bent metal. This isn't a breeze gone rogue. That's when she deployed the HOA voice, The one soaked in passive aggression and bureaucratic poison. We'll look into it. In the meantime, make sure your mailbox is up to code. Correct height, color, materials. You wouldn't want to be fined. I almost laughed. My mailbox was being murdered on a bi-weekly basis, and she was threatening to fine me for it not meeting cosmetic standards. Unbelievable. Still, I rebuilt it again. This time, stronger than ever. Reinforced wood, braced with steel brackets, even a reflective strip so no one could say they didn't see it. I buried it deeper than before and painted it gray. Not HOA-approved bronze, but a sleek gray that matched my driveway trim. A small rebellion. Days passed. No damage. I started to breathe again. Maybe I'd scared off the perp. Maybe Karen had finally sent a warning. Then one Sunday morning, it all came crashing down, literally. I was sitting in my front room, sipping coffee in my fuzzy socks, watching the neighborhood stretch awake. That's when I saw it. Karen's gray SUV creeping around the corner. She slowed as she approached my yard. I stood up, mug in hand, instinct kicking in. She looked around, and then she floored it. Bam! She slammed into the mailbox like she was trying to break a speed record. The sound echoed like thunder. I gasped. Then she backed up and did it again, like a demolition derby. She casually parked, stepped out, and adjusted her visor as if she hadn't just committed a felony with a bumper. I charged out the front door, fuming. Karen, what the hell was that? She turned, eyes wide, pretending to be surprised. Oh, that. I didn't see it. Your mailbox just popped up out of nowhere. It's been there for years. She shrugged. It doesn't match the HOA-approved mailbox guidelines. It's supposed to be antique bronze, not whatever this depressing gray is. You mean like the color of your car? I snapped. Her face twitched. Technically, your mailbox is non-compliant. Maybe if you followed the rules. You're not even sorry. She adjusted her sunglasses. I'm the HOA president. I could have fined you already. And that's when I realized this wasn't carelessness. This was targeted, calculated. She wasn't hiding from it. She was bragging, using the HOA as a weapon to enforce her control over anyone she didn't like. I wasn't going to let slide. That night, I didn't stew in silence. I got to work. If Karen liked hitting mailboxes, I was going to give her one that hit back. I spent the entire weekend designing the ultimate trap. First, I buried a 4-foot steel pipe into a block of concrete 3 feet deep. I wrapped the inner post in 1/2-inch cold-rolled steel. I even bolted rebar around it for extra resilience. The outside? Ordinary-looking wood and the same depressing gray she despised so much. Then came the camera, motion-activated, hidden in a decorative birdhouse nearby. And for flair, I glued a fake squirrel on top of the mailbox. Whimsical, harmless, deceptive. I sat and waited. 2 nights later, I saw the familiar SUV creeping like a shark in calm water. She slowed down, scoping the scene. Then, full throttle. What she didn't realize was that she was ramming in a solid steel hidden under suburbia's friendliest disguise. Her bumper collided with the mailbox and crumpled like aluminum foil. The hood buckled, and the airbag exploded in her face. I nearly choked on my coffee laughing. Karen stumbled out, dazed, hair a mess, looking like she'd seen a ghost. She stared at the mailbox in disbelief. It hadn't moved an inch. Still standing. Not even scratched. I stepped outside, phone in hand, camera rolling. You okay, Karen? I called. Funny how the mailbox didn't sneak up on you this time. She stuttered, furious. This is a safety hazard. Oh, really? Should I send the footage to your insurance? I've got every angle. Or maybe to the HOA. Her face turned redder than her crushed front bumper. She sputtered, then stormed back in her dented car and peeled off, her SUV dragging its dignity with it. But the best part? At the next neighborhood watch meeting, we premiered the footage like a blockbuster film. Popcorn. Projector. The whole block watched Karen's car meet mailbox karma in glorious HD. She hasn't shown up to a single HOA meeting since. As for the mailbox, still standing, built like justice, a monument to suburban revenge. And Karen? She's been driving very, very carefully around my property ever since. So what do you think? Did she get what she deserved? Comment below, smash that like button, and subscribe for more twisted tales from the world of gated communities, passive-aggressive newsletters, and concrete-based vengeance. Until next time, watch your driveways and watch your HOA president.